Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a sports betting perspective, with pro handicappers Alex B. Smith and veteran sports writer Jimmy Murphy. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
It is Tuesday, October the 19th. Ian Cameron, Andrew McInnis with you, and Jimmy Murphy momentarily as well. We're back with you, the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network, Tuesday, October 19th, and an 11-game NHL card on tap tonight. And we will break down every single game from a betting perspective. Alex B. Smith, not with us today, appointments galore for him, so he'll be back tomorrow with us on the show. An isolated TNT doubleheader tomorrow on the Wednesday card. That's it. So it'll be a good show in terms of we'll be able to really get into those two games, break them down in depth on the show tomorrow. Andrew, some shows, especially the shows where we have lesser games, like tomorrow, we'll recap Tuesday's games a little bit at the beginning of the show. But this is a big card that we're going to get right into it with the Tuesday slate. So we will start this show off with the first game in rotation order. Dallas Stars, Pittsburgh Penguins. We've got Pittsburgh minus 125, home favorites, 5.5 the total across the board here. I don't have much of an opinion on this game at all. I'm actually for a bigger card, not going crazy in terms of peppering the board tonight. I'm going a little lighter volume than you would think, believe it or not, for an 11-game card. And I'm not involved in this one. I mean, Dallas, just in theory, is not a team I'm looking to back early in the season. This is a team I thought maybe could find themselves on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs are concerned. And when you look at their first few games, I mean, outplayed by Boston, they lose 3-1 on the weekend. They barely beat the Rangers 3-2. And I thought for the good part of that game, the Rangers played better than the Dallas Stars did. And then over the weekend, they lose 3-2 in the back-to-back situation against the Ottawa Senators. So you look at this Dallas team, and I played against them on Sunday, took Ottawa as a home underdog. It's a team that I think is going through a little bit of a transition period. I think they don't know if they still want to be, a Western Conference heavyweight and a contender and go push for the playoffs and really tear the thing down. If they have a bad year this year, I think they will be, because you look at the older players on the team like Ben Sagan, Pavelski, among others. I think it's going to be tough to see if they're going to keep this group around with a disappointing year. We'll see how they fare here against Pittsburgh. And to be honest with you, I got to give the Penguins just an absolute ton of credit because you talk about all they've been through without Crosby and Malkin to begin the season. They did get Jake Gensel back a couple of years ago, but they've played a good, solid, sturdy team game, and they've paid the dividends of it. We've seen them, of course, beat Tampa in their opener, rally back against a very good Florida team to tie that game before losing in overtime, and then they handed it to the Chicago Blackhawks on Saturday. They did not treat their former goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury, very well in that game. 3 goals early, and they win 5-2. So to be honest with you, I'm impressed with Pittsburgh, and I'm impressed with the way they've defended. The Tampa game stands out on opening night where they just didn't give the Lightning much of anything. So maybe an under here, if anything. 5.5 the total. Dallas, played a couple low-scoring games against Ottawa and Boston over the weekend. I think Pittsburgh's trying to play a little bit better defensively in the absence of Crosby and Malkin. So I'm not involved, but if I had to throw it a lean, maybe under 5.5 for me. Andrew, any thoughts here? Stars, Penguins.
I definitely have a lot to learn with this Dallas Stars team. From what we've seen so far with them, I think it's pretty from a small scale, not looking at preseason projections or dating back to last year, looking at just what we've seen this year. Obviously, the Bruins are a tough competition, and we'll get Jimmy's thoughts here soon. But, that game against Ottawa told us a lot. And I wasn't on with you guys during that show, but it sounds like you guys liked Ottawa there. And I think that most people that were involved in that game, I hope they had a piece of the dog if they're playing the side. And, I'm not going to be looking to, play big numbers with the Dallas Stars this year at all. But the good news is in this spot, we don't really have one. And I don't want to go against Pittsburgh. They're playing well. The stats are actually just magnificent when Crosby and Malkin aren't in for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's actually quite impressive. The way that they've been able to rally around when Crosby was out individually or Malkin was out individually, this team has always had those missing pieces, just kind of pop out of nowhere. And I got to give credit to a few different guys. Danton Heinen is one of them, Ian. I started the year, I don't know why I was ripping this guy. I said that I don't think he would be that top line guy. He's scoring goals left and right, creating chances. Jeff Carter's looked pretty good. And throughout this lineup, we've been able to find some goal scorers. And I just like the Pittsburgh Penguins as far as their puck possession goes. They aren't a team that's constantly racing up and down the ice, which is what actually can help you with an under. So I'm on the under tonight. I like this game. This isn't a big play for me. This is just kind of my thoughts on this game in particular, where I would go. And I actually might lean more towards the first period here, Ian. Just looking and based off this Pittsburgh team, they've played pretty well so far. But again, the big thing for them is defensive hockey, protecting their own end. And you can actually get plus 100 at some spots. I'm looking at Pinnacle at under 1.5 goals first period, the Stars and the Penguins. And it's going to be the bread and the butter for the Dallas Stars. They are not going to win high-scoring games this year, so they'll be most comfortable, I believe, with these low-scoring games.
All right, there you go. Liking the under as well in this one. And we've got our guy
Jimmy
with us, Jimmy Murphy, back with us on the show. He's got go. If you're watching on YouTube, you can't see it on the podcast, but if you're with us live on YouTube as we're doing this show, he's got Go Red Sox in the marquee beside his Twitter handle. So why not pump your chest out a little bit if you're a Red Sox fan right now?
Not over yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I know. It's 2-1. They're a good team. Houston on the other side, but long way to go in that series. But
and Liverpool here too, boys. It's a big day for me here.
I'll tell you what, Jimmy, I'm a Jays fan, as you know, but man, oh man, it's been fun betting on the Red Sox.
Yeah,
my money's been on them. And when I'm betting
overs in that series, I've been on the overs in every game in that series.
Yeah, and even the overs in the first few innings too, guys? In the first 3 and the first 5 have hit, I think, almost every game. So keep riding that. Oh
yeah, I'm back on it. I don't care that it's 10. Greinke hasn't pitched in forever. Pivetta, is not exactly a shutdown pitcher by any stretch. Both of these good lineups, which are mashing the ball, have seen these relievers now multiple times in this series. It's not game 1 anymore. It's game 4. You've seen the good relievers on both sides, so you know what's coming. So I think that's advantage lineup, an advantage hitter on both sides. So there you go, a little baseball opinion right there on the Ice Guys. But Jimmy, good to have you with us. And speak first of all, since you weren't with us yesterday in Andrew's grand return to the Ice Guys crew. Just talk a little about how good it is to have our old friend Andrew McInnis back with us daily.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. I was thinking about our time Andrew and I spent at Porter's Pub the other day before Bruins game. I don't know. That must have been, what are we going on, 2-3 years now, Andy?
Yeah, 3 years ago, I think. Crazy.
Yeah, that was a while back. Right? And they played the Leafs, right?
Yeah.
And
the Leafs got destroyed. Leafs got destroyed.
That was a fun time, but it's great to have you back, man. And I think it just adds more to the arsenal that we have here, obviously. And I thank our viewers as well. I mean, it was a great year for us last year. So now having Andrew back will make that even better. And I'm really looking forward to a great season, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And the great thing now about 4 regular full-time members on the crew and on the show here is, we'll be interchangeable. Like yesterday, there's no Jimmy, but that's all right. We had me, Andrew, and Alex. There's no Alex today, but we have me, Andrew, and Jimmy. So there you go. You can always get a good option. You got a versatile lineup, I guess you could say. On it, you got to be versatile.
Just like we have a depth core, great depth core.
We do. We have a lot of depth here at the
Jimmy. It's good to see you, man. Good to be back.
Cheers, man. Good to see you, buddy.
All right, there we go. All right, enough with the niceties. We got work to do. Jimmy, what do you think here of this first game, Dallas-Pittsburgh?
Well, guys, Dallas just seems like they just need to get home. I mean, they look tired. They look, they've got some injuries as well. Obviously, Klingberg, the biggest one there, and it's not that they played poorly. I think on this trip, I think they've scrapped. And I mean, look. You look back at that game that I covered last Saturday, the season opener for the Bruins, that they won 3-1. I mean, guys, Dallas was in that game till the end. And, Jeremy Swayman, I thought, did a great job there. That was, kind of had a playoff feel, just kind of a shutdown game going on both sides, and each side just waiting for that one break. And the Bruins got it when DeBrusk found some empty space in the middle there and got in a slot and buried that one time in there. I mean, that was the type of dirty goal it was going to take. He just had to get to the front of the net and hope it gets past the goalies, because both guys are playing great. I thought the defenses are great. And I think that's kind of been the MO right now for Dallas, is they're relying on that goaltending. They're relying on that defense. I don't think they've really found their opening to sort of shine their offensive skills right now. So I'm going to keep looking at unders with these guys right now. I like the under in this game.
All right, we all like the under in some form here in this one. And by the way, you're right about the injuries. It's Klingberg on the blue line. It's Jason Robertson up front, who basically last year, if you watch Dallas, he went from barely able to crack the lineup to a top 6 role to a top line role last year, and a guy that in 51 games had 17 goals, 45 points.
Yeah, they're pretty high on him coming in this year.
No question, and they might be without him again. He hasn't played yet this year for the Dallas Stars, and doubtful to miss this game tonight as well against Pittsburgh. So they miss him badly, especially when you know you may not get Seguin to chip in for you every game because
I was just going to bring him up. I thought he was invisible against the Bruins the other night. I didn't get to watch the next game. I was watching the Patriots Cowboys then, but I was not impressed with him at all. And I thought usually, he comes into Boston, he gets pretty revved up after playing there. But yeah, he was invisible to me, and they need him to step up. He's healthy now, no excuse. He's got to get going.
I think something has to be said about even just the past year or two about how much pressure is on just a couple guys on each certain teams and how much it hurts them. I mean, look at last night. Matthews has 8 shots. A lot of them could have gone in, but a lot of these teams, they know which players are getting the attention. They know which players to look for. So I think that a lot of the teams that do well early in the season are the teams that a lot of defensemen don't know who to mark or who to look out for.
Yeah, and on that note, guys, the guys that maybe the odds makers aren't looking out for and you want a little sleeper goal pick, I look at Glendening, guys. He scored one Saturday. From all accounts, I was talking to somebody with the Ottawa organization who were really impressed with the way he played on Sunday. So I look at him to a guy who could jump on and probably get some great value. He's had a hot hand lately.
Melissa, who's in our chat right now and a Penguins fan, she's on to something with this little flyer goal scorer prop she's mentioned in the chat here. Drew O'Connor, anytime goal scorer, plus 525, scored in the other night against Chicago. He's had the 5 shots on goal in the 2 games that he's played against Chicago and Tampa this year. 3 points, 1 goal. He's making an impact. For a guy that's only playing on the 4th line, he's playing with Boyle and Simone on that 4th line for the Penguins and still been able to contribute offensively. And that's why they've survived without Crosby and Malkin. It's not only the team defense, it's guys like Brian Boyle, Dominic Simone, Bluger, McGinn, O'Connor, Aston Reese chipping in, Danton Heinen. We talked about him. Andrew did earlier, playing a lot better than he thought. Now asking him for top line responsibility, but he's lived up to it. So far for the Penguins, playing with Carter and now Gensel back. Of course, he's been back the last 2. So there you go. Drew O'Connor, a little. I don't mind that one at all, especially at the price, plus 525. He did score the last game. San Jose, Montreal. We've got Montreal minus 150, home favorites, 5.5, 6 the total. So this is one of those split totals. Some books have 5.5, some have 6. So make sure you shop around, look for the best number. Again, 11-game card. Games I don't have a strong opinion. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Brevity is becoming more of a focus for me this year with some of these games, especially the ones I don't have an opinion on. And I don't have an opinion on this one. I'm not ready to lay this price with Montreal and a winless hockey team, but San Jose, no, I'm not backing them either here in this game. I know they came back to beat Winnipeg, but Jets basically, that was more the Jets, I think, screwing up, playing poorly than it was San Jose playing well. For Montreal, though, this should be a game where if they're going to snap the skid, get things back on track, it's tonight. But it's just, I'm stopping short of doing that, though. We're talking minus 150 now. If you got in it early, minus 135, a little better number, but minus 150, going to leave this one alone. Jake Allen is confirmed in net tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. Aiden Hill will be in net for the San Jose Sharks. So I think this is the spot for Montreal to win. I'm just not going to get involved. Andrew, any thoughts here with your Habs trying to get back on track here against the Sharks?
Yeah, Ian, well, you and I were talking, I think, pre-show about, teams frustrating you. And this isn't just about them being my favorite team. Just kind of when you bet a team a couple times and then you don't want to go back to them. And I think it can be a big mistake that a lot of people make is that you can get frustrated, losing a few times on one team, and then you step aside and go away from them. And then that's when they win. And you're like, well, why didn't I stay on for one more game? And that's kind of what I'm feeling right now with the Montreal Canadiens, because last couple of games, I thought there were some pretty good spots. I thought we had a generous price against Buffalo. So, looking at some of these games that they've played, the expected goal numbers actually haven't been that great for them. They haven't really been getting too much, but a lot of people don't realize that even though it's a lot of the same players, it's actually a lot of different line combinations, a lot of different, fumbling around these lines. And this is the first time we're going to see Mike Hoffman. We got Brooks. It's Gallagher, Hoffman, and Brooks sharing the same line now. And I expect to see them do really well. Anderson plus 275 is a goal scorer I'm looking at and I'm giving out here on the show today. He actually has been the number one expected goals and Corsi numbered for the Montreal Canadiens by far. And I want to make it very clear to people, because he doesn't have that many shots. It doesn't mean that it's that many shots he's had, because that means actual dangerous scoring opportunities. So Josh Anderson at plus 275, I think, is a really good number for him to get on the board. I'll be betting that tonight. But I'm on the under 6 here between these two teams. I think the Canadiens, when they succeed, it's when they go back to the old fashioned Montreal style of hockey. I think you and I spoke prior to the season. We both thought Montreal would be an over team. They have some talent, kind of a loose end on the back end right now with some injuries. But when they get back to protecting the puck and protecting the guy carrying the puck and supporting him, that's how Ducharme wants them to play. And I feel like the Sharks, as messy as they can be sometimes, first game on the road, I always say when you're on the road, first couple of games, you want to play defensive. And then later in your road trip, like when they play the Senators or the Leafs, is when things start to get messy. So I like the under 6 here. And I'm also on Josh Anderson to score a goal at plus 275.
All right. And yeah, Jake Allen, 2.05 goals against, 925 save percentage, but 0-2 because lack of run support, to use the baseball term. That's been the issue right now for him. He's played well enough, more than well enough, but the offense a little bit spotty early in the season. First week, though, it's just funny to hear Sportsnet on. I have to say this, Friday night, they're burying Montreal already. They're saying reality setting in. It's reality setting in. It's 3 games. It's 3 games out of 82. I mean, yeah, it's worrisome. But are we panicking or saying it's over now? I mean, I don't think so. I think
just be lucky you aren't watching Leafs lunch with O-Dog Jeff O'Neill, because he's the biggest closet Habs hater I've ever seen on the media, and I'm so happy when the Habs beat them after they were down 3-1.
I find it takes a lot more for the Montreal Canadiens to get compliments from Canadian media than, say, other teams. I mean, it's just we're going to find every little flaw Montreal has and talk about it.
That's why I call Sportsnet Rogers Leafsnet. Not Rogers Sportsnet.
There's some truth to that. There's some truth to that. Why do they give Chris Cuthbert all the Leaf games? Why does Chris why do we have to have, he's a great broadcaster, of course, he's amazing, but we give our top broadcaster, we make sure he's there for every single Leaf game. We don't put him on every Jets game, every Flames game, every Canadiens game or Canucks game. No, but every Leafs game, we're going to send our top play-by-play man there. That tells you that they favor the Leafs. Come on. It does, in my opinion. Jimmy, what do you think here? San Jose, Montreal.
Well, what I'm thinking before I get to that, guys, is I don't know about you, but I think you two right now are proof that when they had those localized divisions last year and they had the Canadian division, that it did generate some more hatred and maybe even rivalries there. I like this bitterness going against the Canadiens and all the other Canadian teams in that too. I love it. I'm not up there, but I lived there for 2 years. I know what it's like. And I'd say, guys, I think one of the reasons maybe that the rest of Canada doesn't like the Canadiens would probably be more political, right? Because they probably can't stand the government in Quebec and all the stuff that goes on there. So I don't know if that's the case. That's just a guess from me. But anyhow, guys, I'm with Andrew in this. I love the under in this. And it's funny. I know the first game wasn't a perfect example of it, but, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine who runs San Jose Hockey now, Sheng Peng, he wrote a great story when they brought in Aiden Hill in San Jose about how a lot of teams were really trying to get Hill and get him to sign because I guess he is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, goaltending analytic darlings out there right now. So that's something to keep an eye on. Maybe there are going to be some more low scores than usual or than we saw last year with the San Jose Sharks. And, as you listed, Andrew, all the issues that are going on in Montreal right now, not a lot of confidence scoring. They're down and out right now. They're going to be scrapping. It's not like they're coming out loose and they're going to take scoring chances. So I think this is going to be a tightly contested game. I love the under in this, and I also like a draw on that note too. So give me the draw and the under.
Right, liking the draw at a nice plus price, Jimmy, and the under in this game. And let me just look back on it. I want to verify this regarding, of course, talking about Aiden Hill and some of the numbers that have been attracted for analytical.
Well, you knew what I was talking about, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at this year's. There's not enough of a sample size this year, to be honest with you, to look at that. But let me just look back at last year. We'll do a search. I got a query. I've got 8. Yeah. I mean, Aiden Hill last year, goals saved above, like his goals against was 2.42. His save percentage last year with Arizona was, 2.74. His goals against, 913 save percentage.
Yeah, he's playing for Arizona too.
Solid,
Yeah.
a bad team. But his goals saved above average was 5.31, plus 5.31. And that's an advanced stat that is really, really a good evaluator of just how good the goaltender actually is. It factors in how shaky the team is in front of him. It just really factors in the quality of shots, the high danger chances, the high danger shots.
You watch the team defense too, guys, on San Jose. I watched that first game. I know it was a 4-3 game, but I'm just saying they're taking a different approach. And the coaching staff and management there know they don't have the best of teams. So they need to make up for it with just buying into a system, whether it's boring or not, whether fans are going to like it or not. That's the type of approach the San Jose Sharks are going to take this year.
And to Jimmy's point, anybody that goes playing from the Arizona Coyotes to playing for anybody else but them is look at Connor Garland. I keep on talking about him because I did a little bit of media stuff with his junior team, but he's going to absolutely love Vancouver. You're not in Arizona, it's a happy day, it's red panty night in your household, so I think it's huge.
It's like Linus Ullmark leaving Buffalo and coming to Boston,
Yeah. It's like a release from purgatory for some of these guys. Yeah,
I want to ask you guys, I know we got to move on, it's a big slate, but I've had people coming at me on Twitter and I've been kind of debating with people. What do you guys think, especially about the Canadiens, about fumbling around lines? Because I'm the kind of person, and fan and handicapper, I don't like lines just constantly being changed. Like, Jimmy, are you with me on that? Like, people immediately call for Ducharme's head if they have one game of no chemistry. I'm a huge guy where it's like you have to give it time. Don't have this guy on it with a new guy every single night. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
I would. I don't know about you, but I think especially in the beginning of the season, you got to be a little more patient. You can't jump all over. You need to give things time as guys come back together and form chemistry. You got new players coming in. Sometimes I think it's okay in game though to do that. I don't mind it in game as much as I do game by game.
Yeah, for me, it's situational. Like if I'm a coach and I put a line together for a game and they barely have the puck, they don't generate a goddamn thing, and diddly squat takes place offensively with that line on the ice, then maybe at that point I'll change the very next game.
Right.
But if they don't score, but I'm seeing them with the puck, I'm seeing them hem in the opposing team in their own zone. I'm seeing some chances. I'm seeing them, move the puck well, have good chemistry, get some good opportunities on net. Even if the puck doesn't go in for them that night, I'll keep them together if I'm a coach for at least another game or two. It's really dependent. Like if they do absolutely nothing, they're invisible, they're not making an impact on the game, they're consistently getting outplayed by the line that's out on the shift that they're on, then I'll make a change. Yeah.
Like Toffoli up on the first line tonight, right? Toffoli up there with Suzuki and Caulfield. I'd like to see that stay for at least a little bit. Don't give up on it if Caulfield's not getting a shot attempt in the first 10 minutes of the game. Because I think right now the best line is Drouin, Dvorak, and Anderson, and they aren't going to drop it. But with Hoffman, Brooks, and Gallagher being together, I really, especially in both Hoffman and Brooks' first game, I don't want to see them go away from that. Don't go away from it after one period. It bothers me.
Yeah, exactly. There's some coaches that even after just one bad period, here we go, the blender is out and all the lines are juggled once again. So some lack patience, definitely, in that regard. All right, we got the Seattle Kraken and the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey minus 145, home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. This is another one where from a side perspective and from a totals perspective, I'm passing on the game. Seattle gets absolutely thumped by Philadelphia last night, and I don't like. Obviously, they're going to want to play better, but that home game, that first home game looming for them Saturday night against the Vancouver Canucks, the franchise's first ever home game in Seattle, means I ain't back in Seattle tonight. No, because that's definitely something where it could be already in their heads. We're going home to Seattle for the first time after this game, and I'm definitely not exactly interested in backing Seattle, given this spot, given this situation. Look, it was a rough night for Grubauer. And look, that game, Seattle actually had a great start. First 5-10 minutes, Seattle's actually carrying the play. They've hemming in the Flyers in their own zone. And Carter Hart, for all the struggles he had last year, and I don't think he played well against Vancouver, he made an unreal save when it was no score in the first 10 minutes of that first period. And then a minute or two after that incredible save by Carter Hart, it was off to the races for the Philadelphia Flyers. Bam, 1-0. Bam, 2-0. Bam, 3-0. And then the game just got away from that point for Seattle. So give Hart credit. A timely, big-time save, highlight reel save when it was still scoreless. And then Philadelphia truly got some momentum at that point in the game. As far as New Jersey goes, they've actually only played the one game this year. It was Chicago where they were leading. Chicago furiously rallies to tie the game, and it ended up being the Jack Hughes show on Friday night. Just an outstanding performance, kind of backing up what I said in our preview shows before the season. This guy's going to have a good year for the New Jersey Devils. He got better last year. He gets 2 goals in the first game for the Devils, including a dipsy dangle overtime winner, making Chicago look foolish in that 4-3 overtime win Friday night. I kind of lean first period over tonight, 1.5. Just the first period. Seattle sluggish on the back-to-back. New Jersey, I think, offensively more than capable. It could slow down after that, but definitely I would lean over 1.5 in the first period tonight between the Kraken and the Devils. I might have a small bet on it. I will be on Jack Hughes shots on goal and Jack Hughes to score a goal once again tonight. I took it against Chicago on Friday. This is a player that I had circled coming into the year. We're going to take some player props with him, shots, goal score props. And again, that stands out like a sore thumb to me tonight in this game against Seattle with just what he's generating, the confidence that he's clearly playing with now compared to 2 years ago when he had pretty much no confidence and still a much younger player. And look, we haven't seen the big adjustment yet with these props for Jack Hughes. You can still get him north of plus 200, to score a goal. I mean, you've got Nico Hischier, who's been half the offensive player that Hughes has been lately for the Devils at a better price, or you can get Hughes, I should say, at a better price than Hischier.
I know what you're saying. What you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. You can get Hughes at a better price than Hischier, and right now Hughes is the much more impactful offensive player for the Devils. So yeah, Hughes plus 210 goal scorer. Absolutely do I like that one tonight against Seattle. Andrew, any thoughts here? Seattle, Jersey.
I'm with you on the shot prop for Jack Hughes. I've got it locked in. What was the number I got here? It was 2.5 at minus 110. Minus 110 is what I locked in. So it's 2.5 minus 1. I'll tell you guys, that number will not be there later in the season or even in a few weeks, at least at the minus 110 mark. So, it might seem a little bit square, so to speak, picking kind of the hottest player in that team. The guy had a great game last game in their first game, but he's going to get his shots, whether they're quality or not. He's going to get shots on goal. And I've been saying to people these days, these shots on goal props, unless you're limited, cash the exact same and the money spends the exact same as a total or side wager. And that's my favorite play on the card for tonight. But I do like your first period over. I'll say this, Ian. It's kind of an interesting thing for, kind of my theories I look for, because that later in a road trip, I always look for overs. Last night I was on Philadelphia, happy with that play. Nice to have a winner like that. But I like to look towards overs late in road trips. Problem is, I like to look for overs, but maybe not after you get thumped the way the Kraken got thumped. You know what I mean? I might not want to look for a team to be involved in yet another game like that, because let's be honest, the coaching staff's going to say, hey, boys, clean it up, and that's probably the last thing they want is to be involved in a goal fest. So I can definitely endorse your 1.5 first period versus the full game, because even if this has a fast start, it might slow down. But Jack Hughes over on shots. Let's get it done.
There we go. Liking Jack Hughes over shots on goal. I'm going plus 210 as well for him to find the back of the net as well. Jimmy, Seattle, New Jersey.
Yeah, I think, the initial steam for the Kraken has run out, and they just want to get the hell home by this point, is the way it feels right now from afar. So I'm loving the Devils in this. I liked what I saw the other night. I love the enthusiasm there. The great Hughes Selly there was awesome. I like the Devils in this on the puck line. So give me my first Jimmy puck line of the day here. Devils -1.5.
El Diablo on the puck line, -1.5, +160 for Jimmy. All right, moving on. Vancouver and Buffalo. We've got Vancouver -160, road favorites. This has gone up from a -130 open on the Canucks as road favorites. 6 the total, shaded to the under. At this price now, I would look to the Canucks in regulation, which is right around even money now in this game. I do like that. That will be an official play for me, Vancouver in regulation. Credit to Buffalo, 2-0. Beating Arizona and Montreal. It's about to get a little bit tougher here tonight against the Vancouver Canucks here. Let's keep in mind, too, Sabres still battling some key absences in the lineup. It goes without saying, obviously, Jokiharju on the back end. Casey Middlestat, who started the year as their top-line center, is out indefinitely. And it's going to be, I think, trouble a little bit for them offensively. Arizona's been giving up goals in bunches to everybody, yet Buffalo could only get 1 goal past them in regulation time on Saturday. So taking on this Vancouver team that, I always say, if you're focused to beat below average to bottom feeder teams and you're the better team, you can beat that team. I think Vancouver should be focused because now they're looking at a situation here where, they lost to Edmonton and then they then they bounced back. They beat Philly and then they lost, of course, to Detroit on the back-to-back on Saturday night. They want to get that second win here. They know this is a team they should be capable of doing that against. I think Vancouver gets the job done here. We'll roll with the Canucks in regulation at around even money, +100, -105 is what you can get with that right now. Andrew, your thoughts here, Canucks and Sabres?
I'm going to pass here. I might look for an in-game opportunity. I'm going to be a viewer of this game, see how the pace starts out, and make my wager that way, honestly. I'm a huge road trip handicapper, homestand guy, and it's a great spot for to start fading the Sabres. But hey, the Canucks have competed in some games, start the season off, but they are on that road trip, and I made it clear I like the Canucks. I have them to make the playoffs at +175 this year. I might look at a team total for them for tonight, but as for right now, I'm actually don't have anything locked in, and I don't want to give anything out that I haven't bet myself.
And it looks like Brock Besser, at least last I looked, he looks like he's going to be making his debut tonight for the Vancouver. Could return on Tuesday. Not for sure yet, but they're going to look at. But he's trending toward playing for the first time this season tonight for the Vancouver Canucks. Jimmy, Canucks, Sabres.
Yeah, I'm same here. I'm passing on this game. I mean, I can't figure 2 things out. 1, the Vancouver Canucks, and 2, how the heck the Buffalo Sabres are 2-0. So I think that this team right now is fun to watch. Thankfully for Buffalo fans, that Buffalo Sabres team, but the Vancouver, I mean, hands down on paper is a better team. This game just doesn't have any attraction to me. It's a little scary, to be honest.
Nothing wrong with that. So pass for Jimmy here with the Canucks and the Sabres. I'm just trying to find it right now because there was one Vancouver player that I was looking at here for shots on goal and for goal scorer prop tonight. It was. It looks like. Hold on. It's Bud Colson. Yes, Bud Colson's. I'm telling you what, this guy is capable of making things happen here for Vancouver. If he plays that top 6 forward role, again, I love those situations for props. Shots on goal and goal score props for players that are moving up in the lineup and going to get more responsibility. And Bud Colson's had to play in the top 6 forward group the last few games, and he's been moved up because he's made things happen. So keep an eye on that. He might be tonight. He certainly will be if Besser is not in the lineup again. But keep an eye on
Vancouver off that loss too, eh?
Yes.
To Detroit, and they had a lot of chances in that loss too. So they're going to have a lot of shots on goal tonight, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So I would look toward Bud Colson value because he's been making an impact here, this young kid for the Vancouver Canucks. So I would look again in that direction for Bud Colson props. A good one here. I mean, this should be one of the top games tonight. Next up, Florida, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay -125 home favorites. 6 the total in this game. Of course, we know this injury once again to Nikita Kucherov, another season where now he's put on IR, and they can bury him there, and they can try to wiggle through the salary cap again. You never know with this Lightning team. But yes, lower body injury for Nikita Kucherov. Don't have an exact timeline, but it's not going to be short term. Not a day-to-day thing, said John Cooper. So obviously he's going to be missed. He's one of their best offensive players next to Braden Point, Stamkos, Palat. he is right there with them and as one of their best offensive players, difference maker, power play, everything he does for this team offensively going to be missed here in this game. Let's give Tampa Bay credit because the Pittsburgh game was an abomination for them. They didn't play well at all. They didn't show up flat as a pancake against the Penguins. They didn't play well against Detroit, but they escaped with a victory there because they rallied back in the third period to win it and then won in overtime against the Red Wings. Very fortunate Tampa Bay to win that game. But they played a much better defensive game Saturday night in a victory in overtime against Washington. We'll give them credit for that. They fell behind 1-0, but it was a better game from Vasilevsky, a better team defensive game from the Lightning after, kind of being shoddy in that regard against Detroit. And they get the win 2-1. I like Florida here at a small plus price. I do. I've been very impressed with the Panthers through 2 games. They beat the Penguins. They beat the Islanders. Their offense is humming. Sam Bennett, you got to look at him. Goal scorer, prop, shots, anything. Sam Bennett, we talked about it last year with this guy. He just got to get out from Calgary, get away from that team. It's a team that's not been playing well up to their talent level, underachieving the last couple of years, problems galore on the ice, off the ice with that Flames team. You get out of there, and you're going to end up having a much better go of it here in Florida. And he's been really, really good for the Panthers, really ever since they got him at the trade deadline last year. And look, I like the way the Panthers are going. They're going to go to Spencer Knight for the first time this season in net. And look, Bobrovsky's played well enough in the first couple of games, but I'm always happy when I see Spencer Knight in net because I think he is the real deal in between the pipes. You also have Tampa Bay coming back from the road where they've played their last 2 games against Detroit and Washington. It's not like it's a long trip and it's early in the season, so it's not like it's a huge, bet against spot returning home off a trip. But I just like the way Florida's playing. And from a Panthers perspective, you think they're going to be amped up for this game, playing the Lightning in the regular season for the first time since last year's first round series loss in the playoffs. Obviously, Tampa Bay, it's definitely a reduction in the price. We're not used to seeing Tampa Bay minus 125, at home. So there's people I'm sure that'll see, hey, there's some value here on the Lightning, but there's no value in ripping up a losing ticket. And to me, I think the Florida Panthers come out here and win this game tonight. So I like Florida here at the small road underdog price. Andrew, any thoughts here? This should be a good one. And look, this game could be rough. This could be physical. There could be some fights. There could be a lot of penalties because there is a lot of bad blood. If you watched any preseason games between these two teams, they were going after each other's throats and looking to with some nasty intentions. So this could be a chippy affair tonight between these two teams, but you wouldn't have it any other way. This is one of the better budding rivalries going right now in the NHL. Andrew, your thoughts, Florida, Tampa Bay?
Yeah, it's awesome to see. I mean, you think here in Canada, you think Toronto, Montreal, even against Jimmy's Bruins there, Montreal and Boston are, Edmonton, Calgary, those rivalries. Well, this is a rivalry in its own. And I was saying this earlier today that Florida wasn't always this good, obviously, guys, right? So this rivalry wasn't really able to exist. But now that they're good and they compete, these two teams go head to head and, crack your beer, sit back in your chair and get ready for a rock'em sock'em game. You're going to have a good time watching. And those are the games I don't always try and find a bet on because there's such close games. But in this one in particular, I'm right there with Ian. I like the Panthers here. I just think that it's such a situational thing that you just can't ignore. I mean, besides the fact that Tampa Bay has done really well at home against these guys, I really just think it's such a spot where you look at a Florida team that they're kind of like that little brother that, keeps making the B team and the other brother keeps making the A team. They want to get up there and make the A team as well. They want to get up there and be in that same classification as the Tampa Bay Lightning. And where does it start? Well, it starts early in the year. It starts early in the regular season. And I kind of feel like that's what we're getting here is a good number, good price. I'm a huge Spencer Knight fan. I think he's great. He's the future of this team goaltending wise. So I like it. And Kucherov, he can kiss my ass going back on the IR. I mean, the comments that he made about the Canadian fans last year, taking his shirt off. No wonder he had so much energy sitting out the whole year. Anyway, that's my take.
There you go. By the way, I'm looking at it right now too. You've got a significant. I mean, you've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. High in terms of high danger chances for and against. They've got a minus negative differential. And you look at expected goals percentage. I mean, Florida 51 to Tampa 42. So there is a distinct difference between these two teams. That tells you Florida's 2-0, but they've been full marks for the 2-0. They've played well, very well in their 2 games. And like we're seeing Tampa Bay sort of glide their way into the season. And like I say, and Alex has said it multiple times talking about the Lightning on this show already, the multiple Stanley Cup runs, taking a toll on them. And this is a pace yourself kind of team right now here in the month of October. This is not a balls to the wall. We're going to expend a ton of energy here early in the year. We're taking this season as it comes here for us. And as you can see, they've not played anywhere close to an A game. I guess Washington was their best game so far this year, certainly defensively and for Vasilevsky. But you look at it, Washington's a pretty good team. Detroit's obviously still rebuilding below average, and Pittsburgh got a bunch of guys out, and they're a good team too. But Florida's better than all of them. This will be a test here for Tampa tonight. Jimmy, what do you think?
I'm with you guys. I'm definitely, I've been on them before the season and I'm on it now. That Florida bandwagon is getting crowded. So get on it early because you're not going to get value as this season goes on and people catch on how good they are. I love them right here. And I'm actually going to do another Jimmy puck line in the reverse mode, boys. Give me the Panthers -1.5 to go in there and spank their in-state rival.
Yeah, exactly. And Andrew rejoining us here on the Ice Guys show permanently full-time yesterday. Just a reminder that, yes, Jimmy loves the alternative puck line every now and then. And normally it's got Jimmy puck line on the marquee there, and there's a reason for that. He loves the puck line bets. And look, extra value, too, if you take those type of bets. So he's going with Florida here, alternative puck line, which is plus 275. For that puck line payout here on the Florida Panthers.
That's a sweet price. I'll tell you, Jimmy, my goal this year, I said to Ian yesterday, my goal in the NHL season this year is to not lay the prices, not lay this big. And you do a good job of getting rid of that with regulations or puck line. Nobody wants these -140s number because you lose, that's 1.4 units, So I got to respect it. Jimmy's always looking for that plus money. And if you lose, you're only losing 1 unit, not, 1.6.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be a good one there. Florida, Tampa Bay, Colorado, Washington should be another good one. -120, road favorite, 6 the total. Again, we mentioned this with Minnesota, Anaheim last Friday. If you want to watch Colorado, Washington tonight, it's ESPN Plus exclusive, and it's only on ESPN Plus. So be aware of that tonight. It's a nationally televised game, ESPN Plus exclusive game, and I feel good.
Are you sponsored by them or something?
It's just that's the way to see. Like, it's not going to be on center ice or any hockey package you have or anything like that. It's only going to be on that. So that's why I don't want to hear people DMing me. That's why I'm trying to avoid this nonsense where 50 people are saying can't find this game. It's because it's on ESPN Plus. There's a bunch of these games this year that are exclusive to them. And by the way, happy for a good broadcaster. He was wanted to call hockey forever, but now he can because it's on ESPN, and he'll be calling the game tonight. Bob Wischusen. He's been a play-by-play guy for a very long time. Jets football, college football, college basketball on ESPN. He's a huge hockey fan. He's calling the game tonight here, Avs and Capitals for ESPN. So good for him. He's a good hockey fan. That's what I'm happy for. The hockey fans, they get to finally call this sport, this great sport, now that it's on ESPN. Should be an interesting game. The big news, of course, is Nathan McKinnon's back for the Colorado Avalanche. I'm sure they're excited about that going into this game tonight, taking on this Washington Capitals team. Obviously still without Gabriel Landeskog, and Devon Taves, probably their best shutdown defenseman as well. We'll see how Nate McKinnon plays first game back, but obviously it's a boost. Just getting him to play alongside Rantanen on that top line is going to make Colorado all that more dangerous. And look, Colorado beat Chicago without McKinnon. I like the resolve against St. Louis. Look, they made that very, very interesting and made St. Louis sweat at the end of that game Saturday night before falling just short to the Blues. But, now they get Nathan McKinnon back. Definitely a boost to this Colorado team. The money's come in on Colorado here. I don't disagree with it. Obviously, you're not getting the best price right now, but I do think they get the boost from having McKinnon back. Washington, to me, 2-1 loss to Tampa Bay. Actually, Washington's played all right so far this year. They had a good game against the Rangers in their opener. But I'm really wondering here, Ilya Samsonov is going to make his season debut here for the Washington Capitals in net after Vitek Vanacek got the first couple of games. And this is a guy that down the stretch last year was a lot more up and down. Hasn't played a lot lately, of course. Hasn't gotten a lot of time in between the pipes for the Capitals. So just how sharp is he going to be tonight in net for Washington, I think is a bit of a question mark. So for me, it's a smaller bet for me, but I am on the Colorado side here in that minus 115 range. Andrew, your thoughts on Avs Caps?
Well, I mean, I just feel like that typical hockey bettor that's just like, hey, big player back in the lineup, sign me up, walk me to the window. But I already like this team. I already like that even with Landeskog out, they've got a bunch of guys around their team. Heck, I mean, even some of their defensemen are like fourth forwards every now and then. These guys love to jump into the rush. And I think that the thing with the Washington Capitals, they're a big puck possession team, and maybe some would disagree with that, but I don't think they're a up and down the ice type of team. And if you look at the average age per team in the league, Washington's quite a bit up there, actually. So they don't want to be racing back and forth. They want to, maintain possession and get their shots that way. Colorado's the exact opposite of that. They are an up and down style of hockey team. They'll catch you in transition. If you make a turnover, they'll get you up the ice. And I got in at Colorado minus 115 here. I was excited to see McKinnon in, and I want to make it very clear. We don't want to have too much COVID talk on here, but let's be honest, it's part of the handicapping now. He was asymptomatic, right? He does not have any symptoms. Blake Wheeler, he's announced out. He has symptoms, but Nathan McKinnon did not have any symptoms. He's vaccinated. He was feeling fine. He gets on his own plane, test negative. He's with them. So there were some people worried about his fitness level and all that kind of stuff. Look, the guy was away from the team for maybe like half a week or a week. He was working out all summer. I'm not worried about Nathan McKinnon's fitness level. I think he'll get back out there, slot him right there on the top line and get the job done. And I think that looking at some of the defensemen they have, we can go down the list. I've said it before. I'm kind of worried about how they have too many defensemen that are all the same. Jimmy, back when I was on with you guys before, Jimmy he put us on Cale Makar. He told us how great he's going to be. And we've seen it. And Justin Barron, he's a player that's moving it up with the Avalanche. He'll be playing with them soon consistently. He's from the Halifax Mooseheads. All these players, the Avalanche are drafting defenseman-wise, they're all, puck-moving defensemen. How many stay-at-home defensemen do they have? Not that many. But I feel like in this game alone, it benefits them. Their speed will be too much for the Capitals, and I'm on them. And I'll probably be on McKinnon shots too. I don't like just having all these shots and goal-scoring props from just the best players, but a few spots tonight that it really lines up.
I don't argue with that, but the guy I'm really looking at for Colorado is Nazem Kadri right now for this Avalanche team from a shots standpoint and goal scorer prop tonight in this game. I mean, he's upped his game offensively, and I know he's had to because of McKinnon being out, and then of course they were also without Landeskog Saturday against St. Louis, but the results are there for him. 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points, 6 shots on goal for Kadri in just 2 games played this year. So he's been firing from anywhere. He's been looking for his offense, even though he's a great two-way center. He's and face-off guy, penalty killer. He plays in all situations, but he's been looking for his offense early in the year. And 6 shots, 3 points. Has gotten a couple of goals already. So Kadri shots, Kadri goal scorer prop for me tonight in this one. The 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points, and again 6 shots on goal. And Burakovsky as well. I'm interested in him at least to score a goal tonight, potentially. He's moving up to the top line. He's going to be that left wing player on the top line tonight for Colorado next to McKinnon and Rantanen. And, when you get a boost, and not only do you get a bump to the top line, you get a bump there now with Nate the Great coming back from his absence. Burakovsky's going to be the beneficiary, I think, of that. So Burakovsky, to look at him, shots and goal scorer prop as well tonight, piquing my interest. What do you think here, Jimmy? Colorado, Washington.
Yeah, guys, I think great points by all you guys there. And I'm really looking forward to this game. I mean, I think this is going to be a heavy rock'em sock'em type game. These are 2 teams that I'm kind of down on Washington, but you can never rule them out. I mean, you never know what can happen with them, obviously, with Alexander Ovechkin. So it's a marquee matchup you could see later in the season, in the playoffs, in the final. You never know. I've always been wanting that as a Stanley Cup final matchup, I'll tell you that. But I think it's going to be a great one. Looking forward to it. And I'm going to go with the, as you say, look for a little value here. And I'm going to take Colorado in regulation to take this one. I'm seeing maybe a 3-1 type game. I think it's really going to be tightly contested, not a lot of room out there, but I think they pull away late.
There we go
Jimmy,
for a little extra value.
What did you guys think about McKinnon's comments on media day? I mean, I absolutely love it. I mean, I really think, and I'm biased being from Nova Scotia, but I really think that a lot of Sidney Crosby's rubbed off on him. You know, he looks up to Crosby.
I didn't hear his comments, Andy.
Well, he's pretty much just, you know, people are kind of kissing his ass always, right? The media guys interviewing him or other players, and he's just like, I haven't done anything. You know, like he doesn't give a shit about his awards he's won or anything.
He's not an individualistic thinker. No,
he really doesn't care.
He wants team success. Yeah,
I'll be honest. Like I've watched a lot of content with Crosby and McKinnon together, and if you guys see them sitting next to each other,
it's like Frick and Frack.
McKinnon tries to be like Sid. He's looked up to him. It was his like role model for so long, and now they're buddies. You know, and I just think personally, it's kind of cool to see, you know, how great he is. And the media players will list off all these things, and he just looks at them like, you know, we lost last year. You know, he's like, we didn't do anything. I just really like that. And you guys remember the first time he ever really kind of showed himself and showed some personality was when that reporter, the question he asked, and I'm sure, Jimmy, you remember the dumb question that reporter asked, said he swore in the interview, and he's like, "Do you ever?"
I remember, Andy, because he works for our company.
yeah. He said, "Do you ever just say?"
Adrian from Colorado Hockey Now. Yeah. It's that's regret for Adrian. I'll put it that way. Everyone screws up.
Yeah, I know, and I feel bad for him. But and McKinnon's answer was just like, "What?"
Yeah, well, I think that's everyone's reaction was. My first reaction, but I can vouch it, and I believe him. He'd tell me. I thought Adrian was hammered or something. I mean, that's just
what are you doing, man? It's like, geez, but he's usually very good. He's actually
the thing is with Adrian, just to give him a little credence, is that the guy's been through a ton of back issues lately and waiting on a surgery, and then they did it, and then this was right after this surgery got botched, and he was in even more pain than he was before he did the surgery. And he just has not at that time was not sleeping because of how bad his back was. So he was pretty fatigued and in a cloud. But I mean, I don't know what else he was thinking.
Jimmy, I wasn't trying to bring anything bad up.
Oh no, I think it's hilarious.
I didn't even need you to bring that up.
I think McKinnon's response to that though was the best. He's just like,
he was so thrown off.
It was just hilarious, man. It was
that was one of the great clips there. It's like
that was one of the clips of the playoffs, man.
It was unbelievable. He was like totally.
But I'm with you, man. It's interesting. I mean, I kind of always make this mistake in my head, and I was thinking about it as you guys were talking. Like, no, wait a minute, it's Landeskog. I don't know why, but in my head, I have McKinnon as the Avalanche captain. I just for some reason it's just supplanted in my head, even though he's not technically the captain, but. I think that's why, because he is just becoming a Sid clone when it comes to leadership and handling the media and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no
bad
question.
Brad never learned from Sid. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Brad has turned it around. I'll tell you that.
I know. He's a great guy.
He has.
Of course, when you're younger, you're always a little wilder.
Yeah.
Right?
I've met him a few times. I think he's a great guy. I know you like him too, Jimmy. I was just making a joke.
Yeah, he's matured for sure. I mean, I knew him when he was coming in the league.
He's one of your favorite Bruins to cover.
Yeah,
I gotta believe it.
Stories about him that we could get into another time.
Yes, definitely. No doubt about that. We're going to get into the rest of the card shortly. We got to mention our great partners, sponsors, DraftKings. Right now, not only the official sports betting partner of the NFL, but now the NHL as well. DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL and NHL. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game. And if they do, you win $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's that simple. If you're in a state that doesn't have DraftKings Sportsbook available to you, or you're in Canada, don't worry. You can play DraftKings Fantasy for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with the first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code THPN. All you got to do, bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. If they win, you win with the promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partners of both the NFL and the NHL. Must be 21 years of age or older. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download that DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code THPN. All right, we move on. Next game, Columbus-Detroit. Detroit -125. Home favorites, 5.5 the total in this one. Detroit, I said I'd be looking for good plus money spots to back them. Look, they could be 2-0 right now. They should have beat Tampa Bay. They let them off the hook, Denny Green style, and they lost in overtime, 7-6. And then they did bounce back with the against Vancouver with a very solid performance. Thomas Greiss, really strong in net for the Red Wings that night. So we'll see how this one goes. But now you're talking about Detroit laying a price. And I'm not really ready to do that at this point in time. Columbus, maybe they're feeding off the tragedy that happened to the Matisse Kivlenieks over the offseason, but they pummeled Arizona. Solid overtime win at home against Seattle in their second game. So playing better. And sometimes these teams like Buffalo, Columbus, you don't expect them to be good, but they start off strong. They don't know they're supposed to be bad right now, and they're not playing like it. So I would only look toward Detroit, but I'm just not ready to lay a price with them just yet. So it's a pass for me here. Andrew, what's your thoughts? Detroit, Columbus.
Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, Ian. Look, when I look at this team, I just kind of look at the odds. This is a simple value game for me. I'm not prepared and ready to bet a number like this with the Detroit Red Wings, and I don't think either of you guys would be either. I don't want to speak for you, but look at the way this number has turned. We all know it's a work in progress. This is a team that has a great GM, great prospect pool, but I'm going to ride Columbus out. I think it's a decent price for them. I think obviously they've looked strong so far, both defensively and offensively. And, you hate to bring up stuff like that, Ian, but you're right, and that definitely kind of stemmed an emotional start for their season. Great goaltending. They got who wouldn't want to start their season off against the Buffalo Sabres anyway, or was it, the Arizona Coyotes,
yeah.
So who wouldn't want that? I'd love it if my Canadiens started off their season against the Coyotes. Would have probably been a better result. So I think they'll roll in here against the Detroit team. Detroit feeling good about themselves after that 3-1 win. Maybe we'll get a different story tonight. So not a huge play for me, not a big player by any means, but I'll tell you guys, I'm going to look to back Detroit when they're underdogs or bet on some overs with them this year. Lots of talent with that club, but you won't catch me going -130 with the Red Wings right now.
Yeah, definitely. Just not ready in this price range to back Detroit, even though I do think they're going to have good spots to back them. They could finish better in the standings potentially than Columbus, but let's not sell Columbus short. They're off to a 2-0 start. What do you think here, Jimmy? Columbus, Detroit?
I'm with you guys. Same. I'm going to pass on this as well for all the reasons you said.
All right, we move on to Winnipeg and Minnesota. Home opener for Terry Edelman's Minnesota Wild. Minnesota -150. Home favorites here, 5.5 being the total in this game. I am on over 5.5 in this one. I've just, the Jets have generated quite a bit of offense, not finishing to the level we think. I think eventually that's going to turn a bit. And right now, Connor Hellebuck in net for the Jets ain't himself. He's not had a great 2 games so far this year against Anaheim and San Jose in those 2 games for the Jets. Of course, they have the lead against San Jose. They can't hold it. Very surprising. And look, now you got to play a Minnesota team that at home, they got a little more punch offensively, than say Anaheim and San Jose, who the Jets played in their first 2 games. Obviously, it's going to be a great atmosphere. XL Energy Center. Minnesota usually plays great hockey at home. I'm definitely not going against Minnesota, and I've had my fill with Winnipeg now. The last 2 games against Anaheim and San Jose. Let's wait to see them put it together. Let's wait to see them have a good game both ends of the ice before we back them again, which they have not been able to do yet. So in this game, I'm not involved in the side. I would lean Minnesota if I had to, but I'm going to go over 5.5 here. We got this team in their home opener here, the Wild. I expect them to fire a lot of pucks toward the net, toward Hellebuck. Dare him to step up and play better than he has in the first 2 games. And on the flip side, you look at the Jets, even though we're looking at a situation for them where Blake Wheeler's out, people might react. Maybe you react 2 years ago, right now you don't react as much. It's not the same Blake Wheeler. It just isn't, especially offensively. So it's not like the Jets are powerless to do anything offensively without Blake Wheeler on the ice. You've still got Scheifele, who should be more comfortable now, second game back from suspension. I like Pierre-Luc Dubois' start to the year. He's been more, you notice him more out there. Kyle Connor's always dangerous, goes without saying. Nikolai Ehlers, looking to keep his great run going. He had a terrific season last year. So I think Winnipeg will find the back of the net a little bit. And certainly I believe Minnesota can as well. So we'll go Jets Wild over 5.5. Andrew, what's your thoughts on this one?
Initially, my thoughts are just that I don't like the odds in this game. I think it's priced correctly from both teams. But, I get what you're saying. But this is kind of one of those things where it's an eye test. I know a few people that kind of just started handicapping the NHL a couple years ago or 2 years ago, really. One of them, he's actually from Ireland. He's done very well, Kevin Dolan. And he works at Wager Talk. And one thing that I think that's great about when you don't usually cover a sport, it's kind of like me with the Korean baseball when the pandemic was going on. You don't have any bias, right? You have zero bias. You're using the eye test. And I feel like if you're using the eye test right now, you're wondering what the hell's going on with the Winnipeg Jets, What's going on with Hellebuyck? I'm not saying we all should sit here and overreact to everything that happens in 1, 2, 3 games. Whole point is a lot of these odds are based on what we think is going to happen, not what has already happened. I don't have a big play on this, but I'm on actually a different side as Ian. I actually like the under 5.5 here. I think we get the best game so far out of Hellebuyck. I thought Cam Talbot looked great. And although Minnesota had plenty of chances in their last game, and I was complaining to Ian pre-show about how that game should have been, a lot more goals for the Wild. I think they want to be a team that protects the puck, maintains possession, and isn't involved in these track meet games. So I'm actually on the under 5.5 in this one.
All right, under 5.5, Minnesota and Winnipeg for Alex B. Andrew McInnis. Jimmy Murphy, what do you think here? Minnesota, Winnipeg.
What I think here, guys, is, Winnipeg is kind of an enigma again, and I think it's been the case for the last couple of years, and it's already started now. And they've had some huge injuries, obviously, but I don't like this game right now. To be honest, guys, I don't have a really gut feel on it, so I'm not going to give any advice on it. If I was gun to my head to make a choice, I would actually go with Winnipeg because I think they really want to get off the schneid here and turn things around. But it's going to be a great game either way, and I'll look forward to watching it.
Yeah, should be an interesting one for sure. Los Angeles and Nashville. Nashville minus 140, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. The Nashville Predators 0-2 to begin the season. And I can't say I'm that shocked, to be honest with you. This is a bet against team for me coming into the year, and I've already faded them twice successfully. Seattle, the Kraken, got their first win in franchise history against this Nashville team last week. I was on Seattle, took Carolina on Saturday against this Nashville team. And again, Nashville falls. Again, they're right in the games, 4-3, 3-2. It's not like they played terrible. But right now, there's a little bit of an issue right now for this group. And their issue is their penalty kill, still not good. It was terrible last year. Their defensive play, still not good. And it wasn't good. And it fell down last year as well. Definitely, I think the LA Kings are a team that's kind of going up, and Nashville's the team trending down here. I like the Kings at a plus price. It's not scary anymore to play in Nashville. You don't fear this home ice. They've not had a good home record, as good as it was a couple of years ago when they were in their heyday. And I just think this team's just on a downward trajectory. And I'm already seeing some very concerning signs that UC Saros, who at times was just lights out for Nashville, when they took games, they ended up being a team that was just, Saros was on top of it, and he was outstanding and lights out in net. And he's not been exactly that level through the first 2 games here for the Nashville Predators. So that's something to monitor. And if they don't have him playing like A-plus level hockey in between the pipes, I think it's going to be even more difficult for Nashville. I can't trust Johansson every game. I can't trust Duchesne. There's some advanced numbers and, Corsi, Fenwick, driving the play, those kind of statistics for Philip Forsberg that also point to his play declining. And if that happens as well, then Nashville's really in trouble. Then who on earth can you count on other than that young Finn who's played well for them, Tolvanen, up front for this Nashville team. It really becomes shaky in terms of where they go for offense. If you can't rely on Duchesne, you can't rely on Johansson, and you're going to see the play continue to decline a bit for Forsberg. It becomes a really big time problem. And for me, I like a bunch of things, not only the Kings side. Someone in the chat's on the money here, Jarek, with Arvidsson playing his former team, Victor Arvidsson now going into this one, member of the LA Kings. You got to look toward him, shots and to score a goal, props. And I'm certainly looking that way with Andrei Kopitar. Getting Phil Deneau from the Montreal Canadiens to be that second center means the defensive responsibility doesn't have to all fall on Andrei Kopitar anymore. It means it frees him up. He can go out there, look for his offense now. He's got a second-line center that's one of the best defensive centers in the league, and Deneau now on this team. And now it's allowed Kopitar, I think, to flourish a lot more on the offensive end of the ice. And, man, is he doing that right now for the LA Kings. He's looking like a young, in his prime, Andrei Kopitar. And, look, he's clearly showing you right now he's still got plenty of gas left in that tank, even though he's 34 years old right now. Been a great start to the year for Andrei Kopitar. 4 goals, 3 assists, and 7 points for Andrei Kopitar in just 2 games. And how about 10 shots on goal in the 2 games combined? So Arvidsson and Kopitar props for me, and I like LA on the money line as well. Andrew, what do you think? Kings, Predators?
Lots of overs for me this year with the LA Kings if the spots he's fit. And I think Nashville, a sneaky over team as well. A team that's going to be turning the puck over, lots of sloppy mistakes, trouble with their zone exits. And I'm not saying they're going to be a dumpster fire, but I'm just saying that, the old talk about this team being the end-all, be-all defensive team with a rock-solid goaltender is kind of out the window now. And we all know that betting 6.5s over, or even betting 6s can kind of suck sometimes. 5.5s are where it's at. And that's what I want to look for, is find some 5.5s and try and make some money there. So to use that expression, I just think it's a great value. It's a great number here. And with these two teams, we're going to get 5.5s for at least halfway through the year until the Kings start scoring goals consistently. So I think 5.5 for these two teams over the total is a pretty good price here.
All right, like an over 5.5 here. I think the Kings will get theirs. Hopefully Nashville at home at least can chip in as well offensively in this one. Kind of like the way I feel about St. Louis. Like St. Louis, I said I'm jumping on over 5.5 with them early in the year. An improved offensive team, shaky on the back end. Binnington and Husso, their 2 goalies aren't trustworthy. They're 2-0 to the over already, the Blues. Both 5.5 totals, the Colorado and Arizona games. So definitely it's that's my thought with St. Louis, kind of what you're thinking, Andrew, with the with LA in particular, that they could be a little bit more of an over team at these lesser line totals because of past reputation, which is no offense, good enough defense, good enough goaltending, lower scoring hockey team. Things may be changing a little bit. Jimmy, what do you think here? LA, Nashville.
Well, I'm just thinking quickly, guys, before I get into this game. I don't know if you see the story that it's all over the place about this plane that was carrying a bunch of Houston Astros fans to come to Boston for Game 4 tonight. Crashed this morning, right at takeoff, and all 20 passengers survived. I mean, and there's pictures everywhere of this plane. It's completely engulfed in flames.
Stroke of luck, that is.
Yeah. So if I'm them, I don't listen to us right now. I just go straight to the lottery and play the lottery ticket there, because you are some lucky people right now to survive that. Anyhow, guys, look, I'm going to keep riding my Kings here. I told you I love these guys in the preseason. They're just like Ottawa, one of these teams that's coming. They're knocking on the door. I like the Kings in the money line here, and I'm going to do a little Alex Smith special with the first period over as well.
All right, there we go. First period over. Kings and Predators, and Kings on the money line. And yes, it looks like someone asking in the chat here. It's our boy Turnsey, one of our favorites, asking about the status of Gabe Vilardi. He's going to play on the third line with Arthur Kaliev and Vladimir Tkachev. Watch out for Tkachev. That guy, I think, is going to be continually improving this year. That guy's got a lot of upside. Could shoot the puck, sees the ice well. A lot of great playmaking skill from that Russian winger. Vladimir Tkachev, a name to keep an eye on here for the LA Kings, and I think only going to get better this year. Kind of like Drysdale. I mentioned on Twitter after Anaheim beat Calgary last night, that blue liner for them, Jamie Drysdale, that kid's only going to get better. I already like what I'm seeing out of him. They got a gem, the Ducks, in him on that blue line. We'll see if that continues here, if he can continue that the rest of the season. But so far, so good for him. And Tkachev kind of feel that he's got that upside as well. New York Islanders, Chicago Blackhawks. Islanders minus 120 road favorites, 5.5 the total. This is one of those games where you would expect, it's 0-3 for Chicago, 0-2 for the Islanders. They're both winless. They both want to bring it tonight. You don't want to let this continue indefinitely. And right now for the New York Islanders, 11 goals allowed in their first 2 games combined. That's not New York Islander type of defense that we're accustomed to. Ilya Sorokin's had to play the first few games, and he's in net tonight. He's fighting the puck a little bit, although the defensive play in front of him's not been as good as we thought it would be. The power play gave up penalty kill, I should say, gave up a couple of goals to Carolina. They're lucky they stayed out of the box against Florida, but the 5-on-5 defense wasn't good in that 5-1 loss to the Panthers. And Chicago on the other side, their defense has been poor in the first 3 games that they've lost. 4+ goals allowed in all 3 games to the Avs, to the Devils, to the Penguins. It's a work in progress for them at the back end. And I hate to disparage Marc-Andre Fleury, one of the best guys in hockey, and one of the best teammates ever. He is playing in front of a weaker defense, 1-6 here in Chicago compared to Las Vegas. And is that maybe going to be an adjustment for him? Like, he didn't have to face high-quality opportunities nightly in Vegas with the Golden Knights that he probably is going to have to face and has already faced in 3 games this year with Chicago. So, I don't know, 2 teams that are struggling to keep the puck out of the net. The total's only 5.5. Rather than pick a side, because I think the Islanders want to bring it strong tonight, certainly you think Chicago, winless team, home opener. They'll be fired up at United Center. That national TV game, ESPN, with McDonough and Ferraro on the call. Obviously they're going to be fired up for this game tonight. Chicago playing at home for the first time. Fleury's first game. Tyler Johnson's first game at home with Chicago. So I think both teams bring it. But I think in this game, we've got 2 teams with a little bit lacking confidence defensively. So I like over 5.5 with Islanders, Blackhawks. Andrew, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I just think the Blackhawks are a perfect example of, looking at a team and thinking, okay, maybe this is the game they're going to turn it around defensively. And it's kind of like, again, I know we're early in the season and I know it might sound like I'm overreacting with some of these teams, but I've kind of come under the mindset lately where it's just like, I'm kind of a what have you done for me lately handicapper, not what are you going to do for me next game, and they're getting scored on easily, a lot of really kind of amateur level mistakes when their defensemen losing track of guys, not handling 2-on-1s properly. So you hate to see that with Marc-Andre Fleury, but it's kind of like the joke I made about players leaving Arizona. When you leave Vegas and you go to a team like Chicago, you're not going to have the same huge defensemen that stay at home that are there for you. And you don't have to deal with as many rebounds, shots, deflections, all that nonsense. So Fleury's kind of had a wake up call. Like, I'm not in Vegas anymore. I don't have these 6'4" defensemen that are absolutely boxing everybody out. The crappy goals are going to happen. And for the Isles, it's kind of like I was saying, looking for teams with these 5.5s that are known for defensive teams that we're going to get 5.5s with for quite a long time now. I'm right on the over with you, over 5.5. And, I think we've seen the first period. I think it's 2-1 for the Blackhawks first period over. This is a team that's going to try and beat it better defensively, but I just don't think they're going to be able to, or at least they won't be able to adjust that quickly. And you mentioned the word hungry. I mean, 2 teams that are certainly hungry, and I think it's 1-4 wins this game.
All right, Andrew, like an over 5.5 here. I could only, even though it's the home opener, man, I for Chicago, I'm not betting the side in this game, but I would only look Islanders, to be honest with you. And it's for this reason. I'm looking at the Islanders are still 10 percentage points in expected goals percentage better than the Blackhawks so far this year. And you look at scoring chances against. So the Islanders have, they haven't given up a boatload of chances, but they've unfortunately not been good in terms of the chances they've allowed. They've given up goals, but still scoring chances against. The Islanders have given up 33 in their first 2 games. In the first 3 games for Chicago, they've allowed 113 scoring chances. That is unbelievably bad for Chicago. 113 scoring chances. Like, they're giving up an average there of almost 40 scoring chances. You just can't win that way if you're Chicago. And that's a problem. And Colleton and that Blackhawks coaching staff, they've got to nip that problem in the bud if they're going to get in the win column routinely. Jimmy, what do you think here? Islanders, Blackhawks.
Yeah, I mean, for everything you just said, I love the over in this game, guys. And it's baffling. We don't think of the Islanders in goals for the last few years, but it's just been the complete opposite with them. Their defense looks lost. They've been missing Martin. That fourth line doesn't seem to have that gritty identity that it once had. I don't know what the deal is with them or with the Blackhawks, but keep riding it until it stops. Give me the over.
All right, there you go. Over as well for Jimmy. Final game on this Tuesday card, Anaheim Ducks, Edmonton Oilers, the bane of Andrew's existence to wrap up the card here, this Anaheim team. Edmonton minus 270, home favorites, 6 the total in this one. I actually have a first period bet on this one. I think with Anaheim playing the back-to-back, with Edmonton, by the way, we've seen fast starts, good starts from them. Well, one good start because they've only played the one game. That was against Calgary on Saturday. 2 games they've played, but they've had some good starts this year. The Edmonton Oilers in their 2-0 starts. They've gotten out fast in the win against Vancouver, the win against Calgary. And I think with Anaheim on the back-to-back after the overtime win against Calgary, we could see them maybe give up some good looks early. Coming off a satisfying comeback win against Calgary. And I think early in the game, you'll see the goals in this one. Stolar's in net on the back-to-back as well for the Ducks going into this game. Mike Smith for the Edmonton Oilers actually continues to play pretty well. We keep waiting for the other shoe to drop on Smith. Hasn't necessarily happened yet, but I think we'll see 2 goals in the opening period. I don't know about the full game over. I'm not betting a full game over 6 with Anaheim. I'm just not doing that. But early in the game, 1.5 minus 125 over. I do like that play. I think we got 1-1 or 2-0 after the first 2 period in this game with Anaheim on the back-to-back. So give me Ducks Oilers over 1.5 minus 125 in the first period here in this one. Andrew, your thoughts? Ducks Oilers.
You know my thoughts, Ian. I'm frustrated with them already this year.
Rightfully so.
Pure transparency, guys. The Ducks have played 3 games, and Jimmy, I don't think you weren't here earlier to hear this. I had Winnipeg in regulation. I had Minnesota puck line. Minnesota wins 2-1 in regulation. And then last night I had Calgary in regulation. Calgary's up 2-1 the entire game, and they blow it and lose in overtime. So the Anaheim Ducks have not treated me well.
You know what that means, Andrew? That means we're getting close to Jimmy Murphy, 1-month ban on betting the New York Rangers for you with betting Anaheim Ducks hockey games. That's the thing. That's the thing I was saying to you before the show, though. Is like watch you ban me, and then all of a sudden they're gonna get
of course
tonight, and then the next week. Exactly, Jimmy. That's the thing, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's what's tough, But one thing that I'll say that I've even been saying since last year. Anaheim's going to be in under games, and we're getting to 6 here, guys. Let's not overthink it. I think that if you like this game, you obviously like Edmonton. I think it's a great spot for them. But unless Edmonton absolutely pours it on, then, this game is going to be, I think 3-1, something like that, because we have to give credit when credit's due. They're shitty to play against. I've never played a high level like this, but I know that all the sports I've played, there's always been that team that isn't very skilled, but they're scrappy. And I hated playing against those teams. Growing up playing basketball, playing against teams that could play defense really well, you didn't like playing against them because they weren't that skilled, but they were scrappy. And that's what the Ducks are. And they play an annoying style of hockey. They play an old-fashioned trap. And I've seen what these teams have been frustrated. Minnesota Wild, I think a defenseman had the puck in their own end, and Anaheim player wasn't even going at them. Do you guys remember a few years back when that happened to Philadelphia Flyers, when there was a 1-3-1 going on, and they were so pissed because, a Philadelphia Flyer was standing still and no player was going at them? That's pretty much the Anaheim Ducks. It's like the opposite of the flying V. It's like the defensive V, and we got to give them some credit, right? They're good defensively. So I like the under 6 here. I'll probably find some shots on goal props, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid even. McDavid over 3.5 is like minus 120. You want to tell me he won't get a few shots on goal tonight? But I like the under 6 here, guys.
All right, liking the under for Anaheim and Edmonton at 6. Yeah, 6 is seems a little bit high for Anaheim. And like I said, I think we'll see goals early, but I think it could maybe slow to a crawl after that. Jimmy, what do you think here? Anaheim, Edmonton.
Yeah, I mean, great observations by Andrew there on Anaheim. I totally agree with the style they're playing. They so far appear that they're gonna be a pain in the ass to play against, and we're gonna need to pay attention to that because, I mean, really, guys, if you're betting against them, you're never gonna get good value. So look at those regulation bets. Look at the little first periods. Look at the props. That's the way to go with Anaheim. You know what? I'm gonna look at this too and say I could see it starting off maybe with a couple goals in the first period, but then it's settling in and them getting into their system and buckling down. So I'm gonna go with Andrew on this. Give me the under 6.
All right, like an Anaheim Edmonton under 6, Jimmy, in this one. And again, watch out for Jamie Drysdale. Great game from him last night on this blue line for Anaheim. 6th overall pick in 2020 draft for the Ducks, and very impressed with his play the first few games of the year for the Anaheim Ducks. All right, that is the Tuesday NHL card. 11 games. It's a massive one. We thank everybody for tuning in live on YouTube. Before we wrap up the show, time for best bets as always. Andrew, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet on this Tuesday card?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Kings and the Predators over 5.5. You know, I think it's kind of a hidden game. We've talked about so many great marquee matchups, so many games we think are going to be exciting to watch and physical, but this game's kind of one that slides under the radar. You know, a Nashville team at home, raucous arena. Remember how they finished their last season? It was a great note. They were scoring some goals, and I actually really look forward to watching the Kings this year. Drew Doughty said it on media day. He wants to prove the doubters wrong. No pun intended. I think they'll get the job done. I think they'll be over 5.5. We'll see some goals here early in this game.
All right, there we have it. LA Nashville over 5.5. Best bet, McInnis. Jimmy Murphy, best bet.
Guys, I'm going to go with that reverse puck line on the Florida Panthers in Tampa there. They give me that as my best bet tonight.
There you go. Florida Panthers -1.5 plus 275 puck line for Jimmy Murphy. Going for some extra value on the Cats, the Cardiac Cats. That's what Steve Goldstein, their play-by-play guy, always calls them when they come back. Cardiac Cats. We'll see if they can finally slay the Lightning, at least for one night this evening. And my best bet, looking up and down the board, I'm going to go with that Islanders Blackhawks over 5.5, even money, -110 available in most spots. Again, you got two teams that are struggling to keep the puck out of their own net right now. Honorable mention to Florida. That was almost best bet for me, but we'll go Islanders Blackhawks over 5.5. For my best bet for this Tuesday NHL card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. A reminder, if you can't watch the show live on YouTube, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week on YouTube, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. And if you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and more. The Ice Guys podcast. Download it if you can't watch live. For Andrew McInnis, Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Let's have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Wednesday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.